Hi guys, a very warm welcome to this channel. M&D Made Simple. I'm your host, Coach Alexander. We're going to be looking on how to develop the M&D plan. This is part 3 of a 5-part series, okay? For those of you who've been following this channel closely, 2 weeks ago I launched a short series on how to develop an M&D plan. And this was done because apparently there has been a lot of high demand, people writing to me, and I mean, why should I hold back? So this is what we'll be discussing today. So this is part 3. Please, if you haven't done so, watch the other 2 videos. For those of you who are new to this channel, my name is Coach Alexander. I've been doing this for 10 years now, and I've enjoyed every moment of it, guys. And I have everything at the back of my head, so you can ask me any question you want to do with M&E, and I'll answer it positively. So another thing is we've been promoting masks and t-shirts in relation to monitoring and evaluation. Please do well to support this channel by buying these t-shirts. The link is in the description. There's also these free ebooks. I would have wanted to launch the M&D Beginners Guide for 2021. I hope we can do it this year, but if it doesn't happen, please be sure to look out for 2022 M&D Guide. But just enjoy the present one, which is the 2020 guide. Of course, there's how to set up an M&D system step by step. You can enroll in this course on Udemy. As usual, this video is very long, okay, as all my videos are, and I usually keep them long because I want to explain quite a number of things. So please use the timestamps in the description below so that you can navigate your way through the video within the shortest period of time. So you don't essentially need to watch everything. If you don't want to, just go to the parts which are important to you. Okay, so now let's get into the nitty-gritties. How is an M&D plan developed? So the thing is this: every project has a cycle. You've got the planning, you've got the implementation, you've got the monitoring, then correction and feedback. So that's the plan, that's the project cycle. So the planning, the M&D plan is developed at the planning stage. And it is at this stage when people are sitting down to decide how are they going to, what project are they going to come up with, and how are they going to implement it, what resources are needed, what manpower is needed. So among the things that they need to discuss is the issue of monitoring and evaluation. So now, this is one of the things I've noticed. People tend to just ignore the need to develop an M&D plan at planning stage because they feel that it has been actually addressed in the project document. But I have to tell you that that isn't adequate enough. You need to have a separate plan specific to M&D. So the first stage is doing a desk review. So now I have to mention that when we say desk review, you're simply reading the logical framework, results framework, conceptual framework, and then you're also reviewing all the performance indicators that are present. Okay, so you really look at all those indicators, and then you get to get a feel of what exactly is happening, what is the project doing, what is it trying to achieve. Then the second thing is that you need to develop the monitoring and evaluation plan document. Okay, so it's I've just fast tracked this because I know that there are other stages in between, but I've made life a bit easier by fast tracking this. You go straight into the development of the M&D plan document. So this is in a situation where in your organization, the project plan is already there. So you as an M&D officer, there is no harm in coming up with the plan yourself. Okay, you can download the template for the monitoring and evaluation plan in the description below, but I want us to talk about this plan right now. I'll run you through how the template looks like. Okay, so just give me a few seconds. Voila. So this is the M&E Plan Template. Like I said, you can download this template in the description below. So this is it's a very beautiful template, easy to use, easy to understand. Okay. So for those of you who are doing this for the first time, you don't need to worry because this plan is user friendly for different kinds of organizations. But I have to tell you that it's pretty basic. What I'm showing you is pretty basic. But if you are doing something for a big organization or a government ministry, you need to be much more elaborate. So the table of contents is that it's like this. First, you have the executive summary, you have the acronyms, the glossary of terms, then the introduction. Okay, so the M&D plan should really introduce what this plan is for, what is its use, who is it for, why did you embark on this journey of developing an M&D plan. Now, there are different types of reasons, there are different types of plans actually that are developed. You have a plan specific to a project, or you have a M&D plan for the entire organization. So, depending on what you think is best, you can have the plan for an individual project or decide to have a plan for the organization. So, essentially, if you have a plan for the organization, you do your desk review against the strategic plan. Okay, so as you can see, you give a bit of a background, purpose of the plan, and overview of the project. Okay, so this can be project stroke strategic plan. Then the other thing is that you need to have the monitoring and evaluation framework. So let's go straight to the M&D framework. I get a lot of questions from different people asking me, Coach, what is this M&D framework that you keep talking about? So this is the M&D framework. So it's actually people say framework or framework matrix. It's pretty much the same. Essentially, what you are looking at is a template again for the M&D framework, which I think everyone should adopt when it comes to this stage. So what you're doing here is you're trying to demonstrate that for each indicator, remember there are different levels of indicators. You've got the impact, which is the goal, the outcomes and outputs. For each of these indicators, there should be a definition, there should be a baseline, there should be a target, there should be where you'll be actually getting this data from, how often you'll be collecting this data, and who is responsible and how is it reported. So these things are in the framework, and the framework just summarizes how you're going to be actually dealing with these different indicators. And that's what I love about it because it's so easy to use, it's so easy to populate, and it doesn't get any better than that. So, the other thing is the data flow. I don't know how you understand this, most of you, but I like to think of data flow the way you get your data, where does it move? From what point does it get in the hands of somebody? And who, when that somebody gets it, where does he take it to? Where is it stored? How is it analyzed? When is it analyzed? Who analyzes it? Who reports on it? So as you can see, it all begins from the source. You explain how does data come all the way from the bottom to the top. Okay, in this case, if you are dealing with a organization that sends field officers to the communities to collect this data, how does it move? How does it travel? Who handles it? Who verifies it? Who validates it? Where is it stored? Things like that. So the data flow diagram is important for every M&D professional out there. Another aspect you need to mention in the plan is the evaluation. So there's a section for the evaluation. So if I ask you this question, what exactly is an evaluation? And I think most of you, if I asked 10 people, 9 out of 10 will say, okay, an evaluation is this and that. And I think I would agree with. But the thing is that we tend to define evaluation as the end of project evaluation. Okay, so that's what I want to stress to you guys. We are not just talking about the end of program evaluation or end of project evaluation. We are also talking about the midterm evaluation. We are also talking about the baseline. So this should be included in this section. Okay, explain the process. How will this project actually be conducting these activities, and who will coordinate these efforts? Okay, other organizations, before they hire an external consultant, they'll first do an internal evaluation. So this section elaborates more on that. In your appendices, I like to include what are known as indicator reference sheets. If you don't know what these are, please go on the internet, try to do a bit of reading just to fully understand what these indicator reference sheets are. They are very important for every M&D system out there. Another thing is, which I think is the core business of this plan, is to outline the resource requirement, okay? The budget, the money, the moolah, okay? Some people call it moolah, but I call it money, I call it cash. Different terms out there, but basically, you know what I'm talking about. What is it we need to fulfill our activities? And this is where we need to come out clear and honest when we are writing things down. We tell people exactly what is it we need. And the people themselves, if they tell us, if management says it's too expensive, we can bring it down, but you also have to explain what could be the likely implications of trying to decrease spending on a critical pathway. Okay, so this was just a nutshell. Like I said, the template is in the description. You can do well to download this template. It's really easy to use. So without wasting much time, let's go straight back to the PowerPoint presentation. We are almost done. Okay, so you've written your M&E plan document using the template that I shared with you. But I have to mention that that is a pretty basic template. Okay, believe you me, because for bigger interventions, you might need something much more elaborate. Okay, so after you've drafted the M&D plan, the next stage is to invite all the stakeholders for a meeting where they can review this M&D plan. Or maybe you don't, maybe at this stage, maybe you don't need to really invite them. Just share the draft document to different stakeholders. And the stakeholders in this case could be your sponsors. Stakeholders could also be organizations that you work with, even people inside the organization. Share the document so that they can give you their input. There are certain things I've noticed, depending on the culture of an organization. When you come up with a plan like this, some may be very interested to read through it, and they'll give you a lot of constructive feedback. But others may not be that keenly interested to review it, and they may not even have the time to really make sense out of it. So you might find that people won't have comments, okay? But I can tell you, when it comes to this stage of having the M&D plan validated at a workshop where you invite these same stakeholders to validate the plan, I'm telling you, that is when now you are going to see people commenting, because some of these people didn't even bother reading it, but now at the meeting, at the workshop, that's actually now when they are awake. That is when now they want to give you comments. But at that stage, really, it's a little too late. Okay. So usually, anyway, in other words, what I'm trying to say is that it might actually be good to have a workshop for reviewing the document, and then having another workshop where you validate. Okay, and validation means have all the comments been taken care of? Is it indeed addressing the needs? Okay, and I'm telling you, like I've always mentioned, when you have this M&D plan approved, I'm telling you, life becomes so easy because now you have that green light, that support to actually implement M&E effectively without any interference. Because you don't want a situation where you want to do a baseline survey and then you're busy being watered down. People are shooting your ideas down. It shouldn't be like that. But when you have everyone's approval, the right people's approval, I'm telling you, you'll be you'll be happy. Okay, so that's all I had today, guys. I really hope you enjoyed this presentation of how to develop the M&D plan. So we're going to, in the next video, we're going to talk about how this M&D plan is actually implemented. Okay, I think that's what I remember. Okay, so we're going to talk about that. So please keep on watching and keep on writing to me in case of any questions. At this point in time, I want to say thank you. I've been your host, Coach Alexander, and see you on the other side.